Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Do we have 4 members present?
We do.
We do. Okay.
Yes.
We do, and seeing as such, and I'm all lined out, and it's 5:30, we will commence with February 1st meeting of the Georgetown Board of Adjustments. Let's see, yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, Charlie and Matt. Let's see here. Looks like as far as applicant attendees, we currently have the one, which is, I believe, that's the second application. Well, first in new business. Seems as though we do have an item in old business. Looks like well, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. If everybody would please turn to their copy of the minutes and go over those for approval. And if you deem appropriate, we will approve those momentarily.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from January the 4th.
I'll second.
Move to a vote. All those in favor of approval of last month's minutes by sign of aye. Doesn't seem to be any nays. Okay, motion carries. Minutes for last month are approved. And again, I was getting ahead of myself, but seems as though we have an item in old business. Looks like an amendment of a previous application and ruling. Let's see here. Matt, if you'd like to walk us through that, please.
Yes, and if you all have any questions, the applicant isn't here at this time. They did receive a copy of the staff report in a registration link, so I would anticipate or hope that they would be on. But yeah, the day after last month's meeting, when we heard this application for Clubhouse Drive, the property owner's contractor called me and admitted that he made a mistake, and they actually needed 3 additional feet on that rear yard setback variance that we granted. So we had reduced the setback from 25 feet to 21 feet, and he had miscalculated, and they actually need it reduced to 18 feet. So the details of the property are outside of that increased variance are still all the same. You know, it's the same address, the same lot, the same zoning. They're just requesting 3 additional feet. I am recommending approval of that application based on the same findings we had last month, given that, you know, it would not adversely impact the public health, safety, or welfare, and it shouldn't alter the character of the general vicinity. And I have the 3 conditions that are listed here on the screen, although the ones on the screen actually, the 3rd one does not match the 3rd one in your staff report. So the conditions in the staff report are correct. The 3rd one on the screen actually references a sign permit, but that's incorrect. The applicant will need a building permit.
Do we treat this as an amendment or an entirely new application? Just asking for clarification when we go to, you know, motion and vote and whatnot.
Yeah.
Perkins or Matt.
It could actually be done either way. I noticed Matt's got it listed as a new application, and I think that's fine. The most important thing is for record keeping that we can trace it through. So I would just make the motion under the new one, although it may be appropriate to mention the reason for it and some of that history that Matt was just telling us as part of the justification for the vote and action.
Do we need to do something about removing the previous application from the record? So if for some reason down the road, you know, oh, well, you didn't, you know.
Well, no, because this exceeds that.
Okay.
So that one has been superseded with this one, whether you count it as the same chain or as new.
Okay.
This one has the same application number as the one from last month. So I would treat anything you do today as sort of just overriding last month's. I can even include in the should it be approved in the approval letter the same language about it being not an enclosed portion of the building, because I think that was it wasn't a condition that we had added, but it was something we stated in the motion as part of the reason it was being approved was that it wasn't going to be an enclosed
right, to
addition to the
describe
building.
our intent more so than a mandate.
Yeah.
Well, as such, I guess I will phrase it to this. I'll make a motion to approve the application as is due to recent findings regarding the project site and in consideration to all staff recommendations.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, if you could make that as a result of notification from the builder of builder error, which demonstrates the need for the 18 feet, not the 21, previously done.
Sounds fine by me.
I'll second it.
Who did that, Barbara?
Barbara.
Okay.
And Brett, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Let's see if that makes any difference. Okay, motion has been made and seconded. It will move to a vote. All those in favor by sign of aye. Seeing no nays, motion carries and application's approved. All right, now let's get on into new business, please, Matt.
Okay. This application is G 2021-04. It's located, the project site is located at 170 Southgate Drive. It's the location of Harmony Christian Church. What the applicant is applying for is one additional wall sign on the building, as well as additional square footage for wall signs. The property is zone B2, which is our highway commercial zoning district, and the lot is about 13 and a half acres. I'm sure you guys are all pretty familiar or somewhat familiar with this property. It used to be a big box retail location. In the staff report I go through, there were some previous Board of Adjustment applications for the site, including one for the freestanding sign back in 1993, and then some conditional use permits, one related to sort of a temporary use in the parking lot, and then the third, more recent one being allowing for the operation of a church. Typically in the B2 district, you're allowed one wall sign per road frontage. There is an exception in there that if a building has multiple and distinct uses, as the ordinance calls it, each distinct use is permitted one wall sign. So with this building being that the church and the school both operate out of it, it would ordinarily be permitted 2 wall signs. The applicant is requesting a 3rd wall sign. We'll kind of look at the elevation of the building here in a second. So this elevation kind of shows you what it's kind of been pieced together a little bit because it's such a long building, but it kind of shows you what the building would look like should the variances be approved for this. Sorry, I'm clearing my throat a little bit. The way that the sign ordinance handles wall signs in the B2 district, it allows for wall signs to be up to 2 square feet per linear foot of frontage, and then it caps the maximum square footage at 150 square feet of wall sign. So where we sort of run into some variance issues with big box stores in particular is that these buildings are significantly larger than really any other commercial structure And so that cap of 150 square feet maximum really doesn't allow for the signs to fit the size and scale of those buildings. These buildings also generally have sizable parking lots between the road and the building. So, if you happen to be driving along Southgate Drive, it wouldn't necessarily be the easiest to identify the business, or in this case, the church or the school you're looking for, if these wall signs were at the sizes that the ordinance would typically allow. So if you look in the staff report near the bottom of page 2, I kind of go over the sizes of the signs that the applicant is proposing. So really, the only sign of the 3 that would typically be allowed size-wise would be the school's sign, as you can see on this building. And that's actually a fairly small sign for the size of this building. I think that approving the variances, both the additional sign and the increased square footage that they're requesting, I don't think that it would adversely impact the public health, safety, or welfare. I don't think that it would alter the character of the general vicinity. And I do think that it would help provide some wayfinding for people looking for the establishments that are located on this property. So I do recommend approval of the variances, the additional wall sign, as well as a maximum area of 665.4 square feet of wall sign area. And I did calculate that from the individual sign dimensions that the applicant submitted as part of their application.
Okay. Was there anybody in attendance representing the application, or?
There is. I'm going to unmute them here. And David and Lester, you should both be able to unmute yourselves, and then you will need to be sworn in by Charlie.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
And Mr. Lemaster, who else is there?
Mr. Birchfield.
David Birchfield.
If the 2 of you could raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the statement you're about to give to be the truth to the best of your information and belief?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, did either of you gentlemen have any questions for us, or any other points of clarification about your application, or anybody else have questions for them?
Well, I am, I'm Lester with Commonwealth Sign Company, and if anybody has any questions, I'm available for any questions you may have.
Hey, Matt, do you mind to put up the calculation of the signs back on our screen? I don't know that I saw that in my staff report. I just wanted to look. So is this the total area for right now? They're not asking for any additional, correct? This is just the total of 3 signs?
That is the total of 3 signs. Typically, they would be capped at a maximum of 150 square feet.
Sure. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding it correctly.
I make a motion to approve based on staff recommendations.
I'll second.
Okay, well, we'll have let Amanda have that. Okay, motion has been made by Barbara and seconded by Mrs. Gray. All those in favor by sign of aye. I can't see Ursula on my screen right now, but I'm assuming. Oh, there we go. Okay. Motion passes and application is approved based on staff recommendations. Thank you all very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Let's see here. And then moving on to our next item, please, Matt.
Okay. Not sure if the applicant is here. There is somebody in attendance, but we'll see who it is here in a second. This last application today is G-2021-05. The project site is located at 470 General John Payne Boulevard. It's a lot out in Canewood. The applicant is proposing to reduce the front yard setback from 30 feet to 20 feet and the rear yard setback from 25 feet to 23 feet. The property actually has two different zonings on it. The front portion of the property is zoned R2, and there's a small part of the rear of the property that's zoned R-1B, which is a single family zoning. The lot is about 2/10 of an acre in size. It is 8,700 square feet. And then I'll get into my recommendation a little bit more here in the application. There's no previous variances or conditional use permits that have been applied for on this site. And in fact, the site was platted in 2004. I just wanted to go over again. I know I talked about it some in the staff report. This lot was platted with some non-buildable area on it, which it seems from the site plan the applicant has avoided. But then there's also an area that covers much of what the buildable area of the lot that had a note attached to it requiring geotechnical study and recommendations for mitigation. And the applicant did provide a geotech report to staff for the lot. But as I note in the staff report, the engineer did not actually make any recommendations about remediation or how exactly the lot was going to be graded. And that gives me some concern just because, I feel like we might be getting ahead of ourselves in discussing or possibly approving any variances on a lot that, we're not even 100% sure can be buildable at this time. But discussing the variance regardless, since that's what the application is for. I do have some concerns with the variance application. On the one hand, I don't think that approval of variances would negatively impact the public health, safety, or welfare. I think that the rear yard setback variance is fairly small and wouldn't have an impact on neighboring properties. They're just requesting a two foot variance in the back. But they are requesting a 10-foot variance in the front, which does concern me because I'm in looking at all the properties up and down General John Payne Boulevard. I could only find one other example where a front yard setback variance had been granted, and that was due to help the home builder overcome sort of an irregularly shaped lot that had sort of tapered back in the rear, forcing the builder to bring the home towards the front to avoid setback issues on the side with the back of the house. And even that variance had been a 5-foot variance rather than the 10-foot variance that's being requested with this application. In general, I find that that there's not really, outside of the karst features, there's not really that much that's unique about this lot that would necessitate granting a variance. The lot size is more than sufficient. I know we've seen lots of lots, especially in the older part of town, where the lot is so undersized that we feel compelled to grant variances just to allow for a reasonable use of the property. That's not the case with this lot. The setbacks that were designed for the zoning district that this lot is in, were designed for a minimum lot size of 7,500 square feet. As I mentioned before, this lot is, more than 1,200 square feet larger than the minimum lot size for this zone. So looking at the footprint of the proposed house, which I included in your packets and that the applicant had provided to us, it really just kind of seems like the footprint of the house or the size of the house that's being proposed for the lot just isn't appropriate, rather than there being some sort of unique circumstance with the lot that we need to provide relief to the applicant for. So for those reasons, mostly the lack of unique circumstances on the lot that, the applicant needs to seek relief from. Also, the fact that granting this variance, I think, would alter the character of the general vicinity. It would affect the character for one house to sit 10 feet closer to the road than just about every other house on the street. I am recommending denial of the application, subject, I guess, with the findings that I list there in the staff report on page 3.
Thank you, Matt. Did we ever decipher who this other attendee may or may not be, or if there's anybody?
I have
Or
not. Let's.
The other attendee would be the Hicks family from next door.
Okay. Let's see if you'd like to speak, Mr. Perkins, we'll swear you all in, and we'd love to hear your opinion on the matter.
Okay.
We're Lori and Alan Hicks at 472 General John.
Very good. Would Lori and Alan Hicks raise your right hand, please?
We
You swear
are.
or affirm the statement you're about to make to be the truth to the best of your information and belief?
We
Yes.
do, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go right ahead.
In regards to what the last gentleman said, we also would agree with denying the front variance for the reasons that he pointed out with regard to how the houses would sit in relationship to our house and the other houses on the street. The other reason that we wanted to speak this evening is because we wanted to point out, we've lived here for almost 7 years, and there's severe flooding that occurs during heavy rains that comes across the golf course and encompasses the back right corner of our lot to include that pine tree, and then basically floods all of 470 to include that stand of trees, and water now runs to the front and rear of that stand of trees. And also into 468. So our concern clearly would be if this lot were ever developed and built on, what would happen to all that water? Where's it going to go? And is it going to impact our lot? And that's really all we wanted to point out this evening and make that known or get it on the record, that there's major water runoff from the golf course that comes onto both lots, and actually 468 also.
Thank you. That's definitely a legitimate concern. And Matt, I don't know. Let's see here. I'm struggling a little bit with Zoom today. It seems that's the only other person in attendance. Have you received any correspondence from the applicant or any other parties?
Have we?
I'm asking Mr. Summers, because it doesn't seem that the applicants are here to speak for themselves either.
I have been in contact with the applicant. They corresponded with me by email several times. I've not heard from them since I sent them a copy of the staff report and a registration link for this meeting. So I'm not sure why they're not in attendance today, but I've not heard from. I did hear from Ms. Hicks, and she spoke to me and our engineer Ben Krebs the other day. And we do share her concerns about the stormwater as well. We've seen the pictures that she has taken showing the water running through the lot here at 470, as well as, basically, as she mentioned, surrounding that tree stand. And we would have concerns about how that lot would potentially be graded for a home site as well.
I agree with all of that. And at first blush, I thought the application, the setback variances were looking to avoid some of these topography issues and drainage issues. But, when you're encroaching on both front and back, it's, well, if anything, that would probably make it worse. That's, more surface area to direct drainage, et cetera, around. And then it does get into some how they would like the foundation to be addressed, et cetera. But again, doesn't really give a whole lot of information about remediation from it. And like I say, seeing as though that the applicant isn't here to make any of us feel a little more comfortable about this, I would like to make a motion to deny the application based on staff recommendations.
I second it.
Barbara again?
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Motion has been made and seconded. We'll move to a vote. All those in favor of denial of the application by sign of aye. Okay, let's see. And I couldn't see Ms. Gray, but I believe, okay. Thank you very much. It seems the application has been denied, and we appreciate your patience. What was it, the Hicks family?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right, well, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. Hope that.
Oh,
eased
thank
your
you.
mind a bit. Can't say that it won't be back, but thank you. And let's see here. That seems to have been our last new business item. It seems though we have a few extraneous things, officer elections, as well as changes to our notification policy. Now, Mr. Summers and Perkins, you may enlighten me more about what our current doings for these officer positions are, what all needs to happen, what's going on.
Is that you, Matt, or me first?
I can go ahead. I think the bylaws call for January elections of chair and vice chair.
Are they really
so-
January? They used to be March. Did we change that?
I think so. I think it had been changed at some point. I don't know when.
Okay.
Um,
And I'm sure it
and-
was.
I know the planning commission's elections are still March, but yeah, the boards are a bit. I guess at some point were moved to January.
That's
And I
because
just
these
missed-
boards lead the way. That's why.
I missed it last month.
Can I nominate Rhett to do chair again?
That's fine by me if nobody really cares.
I think you've done a great job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Does that mean you remain on as vice chair? It's you, isn't it?
No, somebody else can pick up and do that.
Well, if Ms. Gray or McIntyre have any interest, or, I guess we could, that's all we got, isn't it?
That's all you got.
All
We
right,
have
so
to
is
double
this all
duty.
we have? No kidding now in general, because we lost one last month, and I don't know if she was notified that she didn't have to leave. She isn't back.
If Amanda or Ursula will not do it, I'll do it, but
I don't mind to do it, Barbara. I'll
okay,
Well,
there you go.
the next time I forget, which I'm probably due here in about 5 or 6 more meetings, you'll have to handle it. I usually forget about once a year. It seems like that's my average. Well, thank you all. Let's see.
If I might suggest, Mr. Chairman, we have one nomination for chair. If we could have someone move the nomination cease and you be named by acclamation, and then second, so moved and so on, and then we do the same thing then apparently for vice chair.
Okay. Well, I suppose I move that nominations for
Well,
chair.
since it's your nomination, we probably shouldn't have you.
Yeah, it's not a good look, is
Yeah,
it?
that's not a good look.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
So Amanda or Ursula, it's going to be up to you all.
So
Well,
I'll nominate Rhett to stay on as chair, correct?
Well, no, we already have a nomination for Rhett. We need a motion to that nomination cease
Okay.
and that Rhett be named by acclamation, and then we'll need a second.
Okay, I will make it. Well, oh Lord, Charlie, you got me all tongue tied.
Just say so moved and we're done.
So moved.
Excellent.
And then we need a second, and I can't second it because I nominated him.
Sure you can. Why
Okay.
can't you? Sure.
Okay, I'll second it.
We need some community involvement, Mr. Summers. Where's our new candidates at?
I wish I had some news for you on that. We have told the city several times we need 2 Board of Adjustment members and 1 planning commissioner. And I keep checking the minutes for the city council meetings, and I never see any motion on that.
Is that
If
an
we
item?
can get this thing finished right quick, I've got a small report on what the city's doing about that. If
Got
we
it.
can get a unanimous vote right quick, Mr. Chair, then we can go on to Vice President.
All those in favor by sign of aye. Nays, no nays. Motion passes. I guess I remain. And
Yep.
then I move that nominations cease for
No,
vice.
you will nominate somebody for vice chair.
Oh, wait. Oh,
We already did.
No, we just finished with chair. Now we need a nomination for vice chair and then motion nomination cease. And
Okay,
that
I
person-
nominate Amanda Gray as vice chair.
Thank you.
okay, now
I motion,
right.
I motion the nomination cease.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I will second this motion. What is happening? Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor by sign of aye that Ms. Gray be vice. Okay, unanimous. Okay, now,
Now, quick report on that. Speaking with the mayor at the Housing Authority meeting last week, the city is revamping its entire process for board appointments. They've always been rather catch as catch can, and they are putting in place an actual process where their website will have invitations to sign and fill out applications, give information, give what boards that they might be interested in. And then as they need folks, they will check that. And hopefully if they've got some people, they'll go right through that process. And if they don't, they'll at least have others who've expressed an interest in service. So they can go through those folks. And that way they'll have people, not just, that somebody stops on the street and says, would you do this? Well, all right. But they'll actually have people who've applied. So basically, knock on wood, we'll get more people interested because that hasn't, you guys are crazier and you know what, but by and large, most people really aren't that interested. So this might get us a bigger pool that, numbers of people, and we won't have vacancies for extended periods like we have from time to time.
I would imagine that Steve Price was already aware of vacancies, but we haven't heard anything from him.
Shh, how dare you?
I haven't seen him in our neighborhood recently. But
We may not even invite you back to Southampton. You're going to talk loose like that on public record.
yeah.
So what happened today?
Every time we get ready to meet, I forget that I was going to ask somebody that I guess knows him fairly well, but I don't know anything. I haven't heard anything.
I understand he's incredibly busy with lots and lots of things. Now, why particularly, he's not been here, I have no idea. But I know he's incredibly busy, and it may just be that some things had to go. Although it'd be kind of nice to, make
Do you want me to reach out to him? Brett,
I'm sorry?
do you want me to reach out to him?
If you have a good way to do so, yes. I don't have a phone number or email for him. I didn't know. Like I said, I had kind of expected him to notify the, Matt or somebody or Charlie that, what his absences were all about. I didn't know if it needed to be any of my business, but if you
I'll
know him,
reach out to him and see what's up.
yeah, that'd be nice if you know him more personally.
Okay.
I just have concerns with him because I know his health isn't the best. Is more my concern than anything.
Well, I think he's doing some ministry work.
They're doing quite a bit of that, quite a bit of counseling, and he's got quite a bit going on.
Yes, he does.
Okay. As long as it's good things, I'm fine with it. If you'd like to continue to join us, that'd be great. If not, so be that as well. Okay, well, I guess that takes care of all that. And I don't have any other attached literature regarding our notification policy, but I know we discussed it a bit last time.
Yeah, I don't have any new information right now. Our GIS department was kind of busy, so they weren't able to get to my mapping request, but hopefully for next month.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What about, I just lost it, Kevin Bradley.
It's still on the judge's desk.
Okay.
Does that mean that he just doesn't see the importance or the urgency, or what does something like that mean?
No, that probably means that pile's about 6 feet tall. And P&Z is probably not up there at the top, along with, whatever criminal trials and, big accident cases and whatnot. I'm not going to say we aren't important, but there have been times when, a murder trial comes first. And all these things are slowed right now because everything's being done by Zoom instead of court proceedings where things, despite a history of slowness, It's a whole lot quicker for courts than Zoom. So the whole thing is slowed down. And again, we're not really at the top of the pile, probably.
Yeah, I would imagine, I had the same thought. I'm sure as things come in, they take precedence. And I know we had a busy evening over there on Pocahontas and whatnot the other night, and there's no telling what else gets thrown on the agenda. Anyway, I guess that's all for now. Or does anybody have any other questions, concerns? I don't know. I don't know why. Oh gosh. Oh, who'd we lose last month? I'm sorry, or the month before last.
Vicky?
Vicky.
And I guess, yeah, she didn't have to leave if she didn't choose to, correct?
Correct.
You could still, if she feels like it.
Well, and I don't know that she got maybe a message that said that, because we hadn't talked about that before the meeting that she didn't come. Were you able to talk to her, Matt?
No, not yet.
Yeah, so she may not really understand that until her replacement is actually sworn in, she can continue to serve.
Yeah, like I say, it's her prerogative. I just have concerns that sooner than later, we're going to run into quorum issues, seems to me.
Not with this bunch of responsible folks, well, present company excluded.
I told you I am due here in the next few meetings to forget. But, okay, if that's all, then I guess we'll keep at it and we'll do it again next month, and maybe come May or June, we'll be in person again.
I wouldn't count on it.
I wouldn't either.
Good seeing you all.
Yeah. All right. Thank